Welcome to another session of Business Startup Training. This is, or session here is session number 2. Session number 2. Okay? So, in the last session, we looked at asset is equal to our liability plus capital. Okay, let's put capital over here. Okay, so that's what we spoke about the last time. So let's look at how capital changes or the business progresses over time. So in the last session we looked at the fact that a house was put into the business, which increases our asset, and then we have our liability. Our liability is 0, so 0, and we know our capital is 600,000 because that's the value of the house. We now know that we have 300,000 in assets, in cash, because we sold a half of the business. So we have 300,000 in cash additional added to the business. So the house now has 300 in cash because half of the business is given to shareholders. We sold half of the business to 3 shareholders, each having 100,000 in equity in the business. So 100,000 in cash, 100,000 in cash, 100,000 in cash. Now let's have a look at the situation where the asset now increases in value, or our capital actually increases in value. Now let's have a look at this scenario. Now we know originally the capital was 100,000. Let's say the capital actually increases in value, and it is now, each owner now has 130,000. So 130,000, 130,000, that's 1. 130,000 is 2. 130,000, that's 3. That's 4 rather. 130,000, that's 5. And 130,000. So we originally had each proportion of the company worth 100,000, but now it has increased in value. So this appreciation in the value is about, I would say, 30%. So the capital now is no longer 100,000 each shareholder. Each share is no longer 100,000. It's now 130,000. So the asset value of the company has actually increased 30%. Now this is basically demonstrating the principle of a share price appreciation, or an increase in the share price, which the main objective of a business is to have their asset value via the capital appreciate over time. So it was initially 100, it is now 130, 130, 130, 130, 130, and 130. So it's actually increased in value by 30%. This is how you grow a business. You grow a business via the appreciation of capital, which in itself will also have an appreciation in asset. And that is how you grow wealth. So let's say we have an example like Elon Musk, who has his company increased, the share price of the company actually increased. I think it was $400 and it's now $800. He has had a situation where his share price was, let's say it was 400, but we have 100 here, but it's now increased to 800. Here we have 130. So that is how the actual concept of an appreciation of the share takes place. I hope you've learned something from this. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you.